Do you really trust your bank with your money? Because in 2023, one of the biggest banks in Silicon Valley crumbled in just a matter of hours. And in that short window, thousands of customers suddenly couldn't access their own accounts. Their money gone. Not stolen, not hacked, just locked away. Let that sink in. Now imagine going to bed thinking your money is safe, only to wake up and find it's losing value to inflation, earning pennies in interest, and completely vulnerable to political drama or financial policy shifts you have no control over. The truth? Keeping all your wealth in a bank might be the most dangerous thing you can do in today's economy. See, we've all been trained to believe that the bank is the safest place for our money. But the system has changed. The rules have shifted. And while no one sent out a memo, millions of Americans are starting to realize the betrayal. Quietly, slowly, painfully. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 real assets that can not only protect your wealth, but in many cases grow it sometimes faster than you think. These aren't gimmicks or pipe dreams. Each one serves a purpose. Some defend your purchasing power, others generate income, and a few can turn into financial freedom if used right. And spoiler, the last one on this list is the most controversial, but also the most explosive. But before we jump in, I want to ask you something personal. Have you or someone you know ever been caught in a banking crisis? Maybe in 2008? Maybe more recently? Drop your story in the comments because your experience could help someone else avoid the same fate. Now, let's take a hard look at where we are today. Because if you're going to make smart financial decisions, you need to see the world for what it really is, not what we wish it would be. Welcome to the financial twilight zone we call the modern economy. On the surface, everything looks fine, but underneath, there's a quiet erosion happening to your money. Inflation in the U.S. is still running at around 2.8% annually, which means that every $100 you have in a savings account is silently turning into $97, then $95, then less, while you do absolutely nothing. At the same time, the Fed is keeping interest rates high above 4.25%, signaling tighter credit, higher loan costs, and a sluggish economy that's hard to grow in. And while the media moves on, banks are still under pressure. Yes, even the big ones. Remember what happened to Silicon Valley Bank? That wasn't a fluke. That was a warning. And now, with new import tariffs rolling in, inflation could be reignited. In short, you're stuck in a system where your money loses value, earns almost nothing, and remains 100% exposed to things way outside your control. So what can you do? That's where these 7 assets come in, starting with one that's been hiding in plain sight. It's ultra safe, it pays real interest, and unlike your savings account, it doesn't punish you for being cautious. Asset number 1, Treasury bonds, safety, strength, and solid returns. Imagine lending money to someone you can almost trust, the U.S. government. That's what Treasury bonds are. You loan Uncle Sam your money, and in return, he pays you back with interest and a far better return than your local bank ever will. Right now, some Treasury bonds are paying over 4% annually, depending on the term. This is wealth protection 101. If you want security, predictability, and a zero-drama financial bedrock, Treasuries are it. No crypto swings, no stock market freakouts. Just stable, boring growth sometimes? Boring is exactly what you need. And in times of crisis, these bonds actually go up in value because investors flee toward safety like bees to honey. Here's the catch. They're not super liquid unless you hold them to maturity, and prices can fluctuate if you sell early. So think of them as a medium to long-term move a parking spot for your wealth that earns you money while the banks play games. You can start with as little as $100 on treasurydirect.gov, or go through brokerages like Vanguard or Fidelity if you want more control. Bottom line, if you're the type of person who locks your doors at night and likes to sleep knowing your money isn't being quietly siphoned away, Treasury bonds might just be your new best friend. But what if you want something you can see, touch, and rent out for monthly income? They say money doesn't grow on trees. But if you pick the right property, it might just feel like it grows on walls. Asset number 2, real estate. The tangible income machine. There's something comforting about real estate. It's solid, physical. You can walk through it, paint the walls, rent it out, and watch it appreciate over time. While your cash is busy shrinking in a savings account, a well-bought property is quietly growing, earning rent, and keeping pace here, even outpacing inflation. And here's the kicker. Even though the real estate market cooled in 2024, by 2025 we're already seeing recovery signs. Logistics hubs, urban rental markets, and up-and-coming cities like Austin, Nashville, and Raleigh are bouncing back fast. In some of these hotspots, home values have shot up over 40% in just 3 years. That's not a lucky break. That's wealth generation. Now, is real estate perfect? Number residus. There are maintenance costs, taxes, and vacancy risks. Not every house is a gold mine. But here's the thing, if you know where to invest and what to look for, this asset class becomes one of the most reliable income engines in any portfolio. And even if you don't have a huge down payment saved up, you're not locked out. Enter REITs Real Estate Investment Trusts. Think of them as stock market-based real estate. Platforms like Fundrise, Public.com, or Realty Income Corp. Let you invest in office buildings, apartment complexes, and industrial spaces with just a few bucks. So if you want a hedge against inflation, monthly cash flow, real tangible value, then real estate isn't just an asset, it's a strategy, one that can outlive financial storms and build generational wealth if you play it right. But what if the economy is shaky, currencies are volatile, and you want something that's been considered valuable for thousands of years, through wars, collapses, and revolutions? Asset number 3, gold, the timeless fortress. Long before there were dollars, euros, or digital coins, there was gold. It was the currency of empires, the foundation of trade, and the ultimate measure of value. And in today's world of endless money printing and debt-ridden governments, gold hasn't just survived, it's thriving. In 2025, the price of gold has already broken past $3,000 an ounce, hitting historic highs. Why? Because the world is uneasy. Inflation is sticky, wars are simmering, and people are waking up to a hard truth. Paper money is a promise. Gold is a fact. Gold is scarce. It can't be printed. It doesn't rust. It doesn't expire. It's accepted everywhere, recognized by everyone, and hoarded by guess who? Central banks. When the institutions printing money are also buying gold by the ton, you should ask yourself, what do they know that you don't? You've got options. Buy physical gold from trusted dealers like APMEX or JM Bullion. Use gold-backed ETFs like GLD or IAU if you want to skip the storage hassle. Or go hybrid, keeping a small gold stash on hand for real emergencies. Is gold perfect? Number. It doesn't pay you monthly. It won't double overnight. And if you're looking for fast liquidity, it's not as convenient as digital assets. But here's what gold does better than anything else. It protects. Charlie Munger once said, "Gold is a great thing to sew into your garments if you're a Jewish family in Vienna in 1939. It's not just wealth, it's survival. In a world where systems can fail, gold is the fallback plan, always has been. So if your goal is to sleep soundly no matter what the headlines say, gold is more than an asset, it's a legacy. But let's shift gears. What if you want something that not only protects wealth, but turns heads at auctions, lives in velvet boxes, or roars to life in your garage? The next asset is part passion, part investment, and part hidden jackpot. Asset number 4, collectibles and luxury items. Passion meets profit. While most people leave their money to rot in checking accounts, the financially savvy are turning to objects of beauty and rarity and watching their value skyrocket. A vintage Rolex Daytona once bought for $200 in the 70s, sold for $17 million. A 1960s Ferrari 250 GTO went for $70 million. A Banksy painting that self-destructed after auction? That stunt made it even more valuable. And these aren't just for billionaires. Believe it or not, certain Lego sets have appreciated more than the S&P 500, up over 380% in the last decade. Why? Because collectibles thrive on 3 core traits. Scarcity. You can't just make more of them. Aesthetics. They're visually or emotionally magnetic. Community. There's a hungry group of buyers who want in. From rare sneakers to vintage guitars, classic cars to high-end timepieces, the world of alternative assets is full of real wealth opportunities. It's just that most people never look beyond stocks and savings accounts. Don't have millions to drop on a Picasso? Platforms like Masterworks and Rally let you own fractional shares of fine art and luxury items, making this once elite world accessible to anyone with a smartphone and a few $100. Of course, this game isn't for the impatient. It requires knowledge, passion, and a long-term eye. These aren't quick flips, they're slow-burn assets with massive upside and cultural clout. But imagine this. Instead of watching your money stagnate in a bank, it's parked in a piece of art hanging in your office, or a limited edition timepiece that doubles as an heirloom. That's wealth with taste. Legacy with upside. So if you've got a collector's heart and an investor's brain, this world might be your secret weapon. But let's ground this again. What if the power went out? Your bank froze? Your apps crashed? And your card stopped working at the gas station? Asset number 5. Physical cash freedom you can hold. In a world obsessed with apps, swipes, and crypto wallets, there's one ancient form of money people overlook until they desperately need it. Cold, hard cash. And no, we're not talking about stashing wads of money under your mattress like it's 1,930. We're talking about a strategic reserve, small, intentional, and potentially life-saving. Think back. Greece, 2015. Banks shut down. ATMs empty. Lebanon, 2019. Citizens locked out of their own savings. USA, 2023. Silicon Valley Bank collapses overnight. Millions frozen. When banks freeze, when cards get declined, when your app won't load and the power's out, cash is king. Imagine being on the road. No Wi-Fi, no cell service, credit card fails. Your digital life is offline, but you still need gas, food, or a hotel for the night. That's when physical cash becomes survival gear. Financial experts like Suze Orman recommend keeping $1,000 to $2,000 in a secure location at home enough to cover 1-2 months of basic expenses. Not for investing, not for show. Just for when the system stutters and you need immediate access without asking permission. Because here's the truth most people ignore. We're more vulnerable than we think. And while everyone else is standing in line at the ATM wondering what happened, you'll already be on your way, gas tank full, fridge stocked, peace of mind intact. So no, physical cash won't earn you interest. It won't go viral. But when everything else fails, it works. And sometimes that's the best kind of wealth there is. But what if you're tired of playing defense? What if you want an asset that works harder than you do, that you don't buy, but build? The next asset is the most powerful of all, because it gives you something no bank ever will: control. Asset number 6, your own business, the wealth engine you control. This asset doesn't come with a ticker symbol. It doesn't show up in your brokerage account. And you won't find it listed in a top 10 investment guide, because it's not bought. It's built. Your own business isn't just an income stream, it's a vehicle for freedom. It's the only asset on this list that you completely control. You decide the strategy. You shape the outcome. You reap the rewards. And no, you don't need a corner office or millions in funding to start. It could be as simple as a digital product you sell online, a YouTube channel that generates ad revenue, a service business you run from your garage, a handmade product on Etsy, a coaching gig based on what you already know. Look at any street corner pizza joint that turned into a local chain. Look at a woman like Sarah Blakely, who started Spanx with $5,000 and became a billionaire by solving a simple problem for millions of women. Look at Jeff Bezos, slinging books out of his garage before building the most dominant online empire in history. What do they all have in common? They stopped letting the system decide what their money could do and built systems of their own. Is it easy? Number. Is it guaranteed? Never. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Because a business doesn't just make money, it creates legacy. It gives your ideas a place to live, your talents a way to shine, and your wealth a path to expand beyond the limits of salary and savings accounts. And thanks to platforms like Shopify, Gumroad, or Substack, launching a business today can take days, not years, and hundreds of dollars, not thousands. So, if you've got ambition, courage, and a bit of grit, your own business might just be the smartest financial move you'll ever make. But now, let's step into the future. What if there was an asset that knows no borders, is governed by no central bank, and has outperformed every traditional investment over the past decade? It's controversial, it's volatile, and it's already reshaping the global economy. Asset number 7. Cryptocurrency. The new financial frontier. Asset number 7. PropLink. Bitcoin wasn't born on Wall Street. It wasn't created by a government, and it doesn't ask for permission. It was built for a world like the one we're living in right now, where governments print money like confetti, where banks collapse overnight, where the trust in traditional systems is cracking at the seams, and yet, while most people were laughing or ignoring it, Bitcoin became the best performing asset of the last decade. If you had put just $100 into Bitcoin in 2010, today you'd have over $50 million. Let that sink in. Yes, it's volatile. Yes, it's unregulated in many places. But it also doesn't rely on central banks, doesn't inflate with a printing press, and doesn't shut down on weekends. Crypto is always on. It's borderless. And it's growing. Only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist. That's it. Forever. Scarcity built into the code. No politician can change that. Big names are already moving. MicroStrategy put over $4 billion of its reserves into Bitcoin. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, now offers Bitcoin ETFs. El Salvador made it legal tender. Major institutions and corporations are quietly building crypto into their balance sheets. So, what do they know that the average American doesn't? Getting started is easier than you think. Platforms like Coinbase, Cash App, or Kraken let you buy in with as little as $1. You don't need to go all in, just start building a position slowly, learning as you go. No, crypto won't replace every dollar in your wallet. But in a world where banks are fragile, inflation is real, and systems are aging, not having any exposure to this new class of assets might be the bigger risk. If gold was the safe haven of the analog world, Bitcoin is the digital generation's answer. So what now? You've just discovered 7 real-world assets that can protect, grow, and future-proof your money in a world where trust in traditional systems is fading fast. Let's recap. Treasury bonds, predictable, stable, safe. Real estate, tangible income, and long-term growth. Gold, the timeless store of value. Collectibles and luxury, scarcity and status, with upside. Physical cash, your last line of defense. Your own business freedom and control. Crypto risky, revolutionary, and already changing the game. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these assets are you already using? Which one are you going to explore next? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable was this breakdown to your financial planning? Drop a comment. I read every single one. And if you want to keep building a future that's yours, not one handed to you by a failing system, then hit that subscribe button and stick around. This is where we turn financial fear into freedom.